Hey guys, it's Sneha here. Welcome to our YouTube channel and our first official episode of our straightforward, honest business development series. Today we'll be talking about strategic partnerships and how they can benefit your business. So chapter 1, what is a strategic partnership? So a strategic partnership is a collaboration between two organizations or two different brands where they come together and they bring their products or services together to create a mutual beneficial relationship. An example of what some benefits of a strategic partnership could be for a company would be market share. So you can increase your market share in your partner's industry, and your partner could increase their market share in your industry. So it goes hand in hand. On top of that, if let's say you have a goal in your business that you want to achieve, but you don't necessarily have the resources for it, you can take advantage of a partnership by working with another business that does have the resources and can make that happen for you. Another benefit to strategic partnerships is just overall collaboration, having fresh ideas and innovation, and being able to work with different minds in different industries so that you can actually create new, fresh products and services that you can put out into the market collaboratively with your partner. An example of a case study between Spotify and Uber, just to kind of lay things down so you guys can understand how a strategic partnership works. So essentially what we're trying to do is solve a problem at the beginning. So let's say if we look at Spotify and Uber, like when I get in an Uber, the worst thing is having to tell an Uber driver to change the music, or like having to have that awkward interaction where you're like, hey, could you put my, favorite song on or whatever. And then the Uber driver's like, no, or like, oh, I'm not, I can't, I don't know how, whatever. Or maybe they just don't want to, or maybe they do, but it takes like forever, whatever. I would solve that problem with a strategic partnership by partnering with an app like Spotify. So if Uber were to partner with Spotify, they could give their riders access to Spotify's platform to play whatever music they want from the minute they get in the car. So because the Uber driver is already connected to their car with their phone, it would be easy for them to kind of start almost like a jam session with their Uber driver, and they can control the music from the minute they get in the car. I think that would make Uber riders' experiences even better, and also the drivers, because that way they don't have to worry about your experience in their car. They know they're gonna get a good rating, and they expect that your experience is going well because you're enjoying yourself during the time that you're in their car. For the user or the rider, they avoid that awkward conversation, and most of the time people do want to listen to music in the car. So I would solve that problem by working with Spotify if I was Uber, or vice versa, and just creating like a streamline between both apps so that they can go from Uber to Spotify and Spotify back to Uber, just like this when they're being used. And how to establish that partnership. So let's say we're Uber in this scenario. How I would establish the partnership with Spotify is I would, one, point out what the biggest issue is, look at statistics and see how many people complain about an interaction like that. Or sometimes people just don't really want to talk. Sometimes we're not as social, but we still want to listen to our music, or we still want to have a personalized experience in an Uber ride. I would find the contact information for the strategic partnership team at Uber or Spotify, and then I would reach out to them and point out what the issue is and how I feel we could solve it. And that way I would also look at our market share. So how big is Spotify? How big is Uber? How big would we be if we came together? How many users is that? Because most of the time we're probably doubling or tripling the amount of users that will have access to both platforms. We'll be able to leverage Uber's users and also leverage Spotify users, which would just grow their overall market share, even though they're in two totally different industries. In conclusion, we've gone through what a partnership is, or what a strategic partnership is. It's a collaboration between both companies, two different organizations or more, where they bring both their products or services to the table, and we find a mutually connected way to integrate them. What are the benefits? So we're looking at increase in market share, taking advantage of our partners' market and their users, and vice versa, and then also creating a new innovative way of operating your own business. So if we're talking Uber would benefit really well from this because their users would get a much better ride experience, and then Spotify would benefit because people would be listening and streaming even more on their platform, and that would also benefit the artists on the platform. So it's like a win-win scenario, and that's really what a strategic partnership is. The goal is to make it a win-win scenario, so both companies are happy, both companies are making even more money and are increasing their market share. And yeah, that's everything for today. So I hope you guys learned something new today, and Out of the Box is one of the best companies for strategic partnerships, and that's one of our specialties. So if you guys have a chance, like, subscribe to this video, and check us out on Instagram at outoftheboxca. Bye.